5 superpositions of a monk that changed my life. First, the reason is within me. Everything that happens only because I want it to. Second, and for some reason it's good. Everything that happens is somehow good for me. There is always a hidden meaning in it. You might not understand it yet, but it is definitely so. Third, I'm curious how it will happen. Let go of the situation. Don't hold life by the throat and don't try to find out right here, right now how it will be. Say, I'm curious how it will happen. Focus on your own business. Fourth, I want it enough. Allow yourself to want, because strength, especially feminine strength, lies in the ability to want. Don't think with your head about whether I'll have enough money or not. Credit, mortgage. Say, I want it enough. Everything will happen as it should. And the 5th superposition, I am not obliged to be consistent. You can always renegotiate. You can always change your mind. You don't have to suffer your whole life just because you made a decision 10 years ago. Try.
So look, the first thing I want to say about this, the sequence is a bit incorrect. If we are perfecting this video to perfection, then we need to swap some statements and then it will be even better.
For convenience, from this video, I have noted down 5 main points. I would like you to comment on each of them. First, the reason is within me.
Absolutely right. That's definitely the case, and there are no other options. So there's really nothing to add here. We can philosophize about this for a long time, proving that it is so, but it is so. And if it's not, well, look at point 1. It is so.
All right. Then why do, let's say in quotes, unfair things happen to a person, in their view?
Because in their view, that's a very important point, that is, you lack a spectrum of perception. You sometimes look at life through a tiny little gap. That's why it feels like something went wrong, unlawfully. Firstly, you don't know the laws by which all this happens, the dimensions by which it's all measured, and your spectrum of perception is very narrow. That's why there's an illusion of injustice, a reason to take offense, something beyond your control. It's all nonsense.
How can one expand the spectrum of perception?
Practice. We need to develop ourselves in an extrasensory way. Why does a person calmly accept that they sometimes learn for up to 9 months, every day? Continuously walking? In general, let's look in this direction. A person learns to go to the toilet. Learns. At first, they just go on themselves. And it's far from a comfortable state of being. A person learns to walk. They can't just jump up and run. A person learns everything, but at some point, somehow it turns out like this. But again, I know why it happens, because it's not beneficial to anyone. But at some point, as soon as it comes to extrasensory perception and energy perception, a person gets a block in their head, like that's it. Either you have to be born with it, or you have to run to someone else who supposedly claims that he can do it. Well, maybe he really can. So you run to him, and then what? It's the same thing once again. Let's go to the level of physics. Strong, good muscles, a strong body, that's good. What should you do? Well, I'll go, for example, to a fitness trainer. Went to the fitness trainer, made sure everything is fine with him, he stretches, his muscles are in order, and everything is great. What will you do next? You will train and you won't have any, other thoughts in your head. That yes, I came to a person who can, and now I will learn to do the same. But when it comes to energy, I will come. I will find myself a master. I will find a specialist who knows how to use it. I will come to him and do nothing. Everything will happen by itself now. Why? Why would it happen by itself? Is he going to do something for you? Why would he need to do that? He would do it better for himself.
It should be a regular job constantly. You can't just practice conditionally become enlightened and then that's it.
Well, again, there's a long way to enlightenment, a lot of time to enlightenment. But developing extrasensory perception is not the same as becoming enlightened. You're simply discovering another function of your body which was initially embedded in you, one that you use in childhood without even thinking about it. The system is designed in such a way that you forget about it. You're not supposed to perceive it. Otherwise, you will be without uncontrolled, unmanageable. It will be very difficult to manipulate you, very difficult to control you. You can no longer be made into a herd. You won't want to be part of it. That's why the system is structured. It was built by people There's no need to try to blame it all on some reptilians, aliens, or anything like that. No, it was people who built it.
And in such a state, can you then influence the system yourself?
Of course you can.
And that's the point, right?
And why? Well, what do you mean? Wait.
That's why the system now suppresses, so you don't influence.
A person became a world champion. Can they influence sports?
Only with their achievements. Well, let's say in a positive way.
And why in a positive way? Why not in a negative way? The question is different. Can they influence sports being a world champion?
Well, directly, no.
Why?
How would they influence?
They have authority. They have an audience. They have a fan base. They can say, this is all nonsense. We're all on doping, barely making it to 40, and something needs to change.
Well, they came to this precisely because they like it.
What difference does it make why they came there? The question was whether they can influence or not. I say they can. The same thing. A person became a great scientist. Take Einstein, take Tesla, take the inventor of the atomic bomb. Can they influence? Oppenheimer? Maybe. And he influenced. And then there was a trial. When he saw what he had done, he said, well, we need to somehow balance this. Balanced it. He was almost made a traitor for that. But somehow everything worked out.
So that's why the system closes off all your opportunities?
Of course. Try, for example, to get information on how to create a nuclear reactor. Everything there is top secret. Try to get information on how to make hyperweapons, hypersonic missiles. Everything there is top secret. Try to get reliable information on how to become a world champion in bodybuilding. Most likely, specialists there will cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of rubles.
Is work with energy secret?
Of course. It's the same there. Everything is closed off. And I have spent this decade trying to find a person in the field who not only claims to possess this knowledge, but is capable of teaching you. And this person was also under state control. I realized this over time. No one told me about it. I just saw it. That's quite something.
All right, let's move on to the next statement. Everything happening to me is good.
This statement is not in the right place.
And where would you place it among the 5?
It should definitely come after the statement that about the goal. We must allow ourselves to achieve something. Where is it there?
How it happens? Doesn't matter. I want it enough. I don't have to be consistent. No, I want.
That is, a person must first declare what they want. If a person is drifting like excrement in an ice hole, how can it be good or bad in such a state? You're just floating from one wall to another. There is neither good nor bad here. First, a person sets a goal. That is, they take a certain position. I need this. That's it. At this point, we can already move the list further. If a person is unable to say why they did it, why are you even living? Why do you need food? Well, to put it in my mouth. And why do you need a mouth? Well, to put food in it. In this position, everything is fine. No, there is nothing good there. You are just slowly dying. There can be nothing good there. Therefore, when a person has no idea why they are living, when a person is in a herd, when a person flows from one day to another, when their days are just like Groundhog Day, absolutely identical, similar to each other, they think it's good. I mean, why is that good? You're dying. Your precious time is slipping away, passing through your fingers. What's good about that? Everything is supposedly fine. Divorce? Small children? Not enough money? Well, everything is fine. No, it's not fine.
But inside you surely disagree, right?
Of course. That's why this phrase, everything is fine, just because everything is fine, does not correspond to reality. In such a sequence, but when a person says, so, I want this. I am moving towards it. I am moving towards it not in the way I was taught, not linearly. I am moving towards it through intuition. Basically, it can be implied, yes, that it's about intuition, not logical achievement.
Yes, it's mentioned here. I don't have to be a follower.
In such a context, when you are already charged, when you are determined, when you see your goal and start moving towards it, That's when you can say, everything that happens to me brings me closer to achieving my intention. And that, of course, is good. But if you don't have an intention, where are you being brought closer to? You're just slowly dying, that's all. And it happens very quickly.
So it turns out, in any case, you need to act through intuition, not through...
No, not in every case. When intuition works, if your intuition doesn't work, how will you act through it? We must act effectively. Well, honestly, with self-awareness. For example, I perceive myself as a fiery, accelerated practitioner. I don't need logic at all. But I can look at my state and say, "What? Somehow I've gotten a bit carried away. I have no intuition at all right now. My heart has long since gone out. The channels are blocked. Therefore, I will act logically through thinking. Yes, most likely I will make mistakes. Most likely, everything will be very crooked, skewed, and off-kilter. But I will act. I will keep moving. I will not stand still. And as soon as, again, I gain access to intuition, like with transsensory perception, logic will once again be thrown out. It will be turned off as unnecessary. But if I don't have access to intuition, I don't have access to transsensory perception, I will use what I have access to, just so as not to stop, just so as not to get stuck, just so as not to get into the day. Groundhog Day.
Well, Groundhog Day, what do you mean? Do you mean just an ordinary everyday life?
Ordinary everyday life, yes. Work, 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 2 days off. Work, 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 and so on. In a loop, then they let you go. To lie in an unconscious state. Somewhere at a resort, well, for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then back to the line, to the herd. There it is, Groundhog Day. And then people come to me, already at an older age, saying, I've done everything the right way my whole life, and now I've come to the conclusion that it was all wrong. So, what is the right way? I ask, what do you actually want from life? Why did you do everything the right way all this time? For what purpose? And suddenly it turns out that the person has no idea why they did everything right their whole life. Can you imagine the horror in their eyes? You've spent 50 years of your life without understanding why you were doing it. You did everything right in your understanding, without knowing what you wanted to achieve from it. That's why a person first sets a goal, first says, I want this. And only then does it start to become relative, for what comes next to have meaning. In this list, in this sequence, yes, I agree.
We will leave a link to the courses in the description below the video. Anton, I thank you for your answers. Be sure to write your questions and impressions. We might answer them in the next video.
Do you want to unlock your inner strength and learn to manage energy? The course, Power of Consciousness 1. Practical Energy will provide you with tools to improve health, develop intuition, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Join and start changing your life right now. Link in the description.